What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be going over my top 36 wide receiver rankings. Remember, guys, there's 4 teams on a bye, so get these wide receivers out of your lineup on the Steelers, the Falcons, the Packers, and the Bears. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. I will be live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern for the Start, Sit show of the week, and then I'm going to have another show on Sunday before kickoff there as well. If you guys haven't checked out the Guys FF Discord, it'll be pinned in the comments and in the description. Me and my partner, Big Draft Energy, we cover everything fantasy football for you guys across the board: roster construction, trades, dynasty player values, dynasty trades, and we also drop our Pick'em tickets in there. Mine is going to be dropping in there today on drafters.com. Make sure you sign up using promo code SLEEZE. It will match your initial deposit up to $100. And remember, guys, in these rankings videos, this is just more my take on the games, all the statistics and everything like that. If you want to hear the wide receiver, that's all in the start sit video, all the defense, all receptions, all touchdowns, defensive ranks, yards per game, all of that is all in the start sit video. This is just going to be more my interpretation of the game, what happened last week, how I like the matchups to go, and stuff like that, with a couple jokes here coming in. Let's dive in to my Week 5 top 36 wide receiver rankings. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my wide receiver board here. Baller at the top, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. We're going to go through the top 36. I've got the bye players here at the top, so DK Metcalf, Golden. You can throw Romeo Dobbs up there if you want. DJ Moore, Odunze, London, Mooney. Make sure they're all out of your lineups, guys. And down below, man, look at this. We are 5 weeks into football. Tyreek Hill's season is over. Terry McLaurin has been out. Malik Neighbors' season is over. Evan's still out with the hamstring. CeeDee Lamb may play, may not play. If he plays, he's obviously a top 5 wide receiver. Rashee Rice suspended week 7. Ayuk out. Purcell out. Juan Jennings out. Could have thrown him up there too. It is never ending with these injuries right now, man. It's absolutely crazy through freaking 4 weeks of football what's happened here. I mean, it's honestly, like, I tweeted it out. I was like, man, it's like whoever stays healthy is going to win this year right now at this rate. This is insane with the injuries. But let's dive into it here. And when I get to 2 players on the same team, I talk about them at the same time here. And starting off with number 1, this is the wide receiver 1, 100% as long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy. What he has got to learn from Puka Nacua, from Devontae Adams, who I've been saying this for 3 years on my show, is that he's the best route runner I've possibly seen in my lifetime. And you're seeing him give the tutelage to Puka Nacua, and it is just becoming a nightmare. These 2 wide receivers command a 70% target share between the 2 of them. That is absolutely insane. You're going to get the 49ers tonight. And my 49ers, you look behind me, 49er fan, we're beat up across the board. No Kittle, no Ayuk, no Jennings, no Purcell. I mean, it's just no Juan Jennings as well. It's just CMC out there by himself, and no Purdy with Mac Jones. So this could get really ugly really quick. Is the only thing I'm afraid of here is how much volume do these guys see? But I still think they're absolutely going to dominate us. I mean, Puka Nacua always kills us, so he's definitely going to splash for 20-plus easy in this game. He just needs to score a touchdown, man. And Devontae Adams, I'm going to keep it wide receiver 9. Number 2, I got to apologize to the Lions fan, and this matchup is great. It is Amon-Ra St. Brown. This man is absolutely destroying fantasy football. But when it comes to this guy, if you guys have been part of the channel, I tell you this all the time. Jameson Williams, right? You get the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a great matchup for him. The over-under is 49.5. But again, you might be facing another situation like the Rams here. The Bengals haven't been able to move the ball at all. Jake Browning has been absolutely terrible. They said today they still got confidence in him as a starter. I don't know what is going on in Cincy. It's time to pick up the phone and go get one of these quarterbacks, which is what's going to happen after they lose this game this week. But it's like, does Jameson Williams hit a pop right away? You know, he has to score early. Do the Bengals stay in this game? The over-under is 49.5. It's high, but still, the Lions could probably score 40 points, and the Bengals score 9. Like, that's how I look at this game right now. It's very, very ugly for the Bengals. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown, safe, top 3 play for me this week, easy against this terrible Bengals defense. And Jameson Williams, I have him at wide receiver 24. If you want to take the boom play, I say I never recommend him as a start. You know, if you look at your opponent's lineup and they have a better lineup and it looks like you need a splash play, take the home run shot. He is a boomer bust player for me. This is why I don't draft him. And as soon as he pops, I try and sell him every single time if I own him. But again, that's more of a, example for you guys because I don't really draft Jameson Williams ever. Bum, 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 bada, bum, 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 bada, bum. Wide receiver 3, Garrett Sleazebomb's guy, Wilson. No one was higher on this guy coming into the season. He had another touchdown last week where he had the worst PI call I've ever seen. He would be a top 3 wide receiver right now. And you get the Dallas Cowboys defense. This is a splash Wilson, splash Fields, splash Breece Hall with Braylon Allen going down with the injury. He's on IR. Man, Garrett Wilson, I told you guys, and I said all year long, if you draft A.J. Brown over Garrett Wilson, it is a massive mistake, and everyone is paying for it right now. Garrett Wilson is my wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 1 upside this week. Number 4, I took a shot at him at wide receiver 1 last week. The matchup was great versus the Arizona Cardinals, and Jay Season had like a blanketed first half, and then, man, he just showed pure leadership, pure grit down the stretch, game-winning catch at the buzzer to put the kneel down in and put the nail in the coffin. Now, when you're looking at this matchup versus Tampa's been great versus the run. They're number 1, I believe, in rushing yards allowed, but they allow a lot of passing yards to the running back, so it doesn't show up like, on your Yahoo or whatever app you have as full green. This is going to be a smash Jay Season game. The Bucs secondary is absolutely weak. He is going to feast. Cooper Kupp is a shell of himself, not having the Cooper Kupp season. They really have no tight end play. I believe this is going to be a Kenneth Walker Jay Season game in the receiving game this week for Seattle, and I have him at wide receiver 4. Wide receiver 5. This is as good as it gets. The Baltimore Ravens are like the Dallas Cowboys. This defense is getting absolutely shattered. So Nico Collins' big boom game is here. You saw C.J. Stroud find a little light at the end of the tunnel last week against Tennessee, getting their first win, shutting them out. Obviously, the Titans are just absolutely terrible, so I'm not going to get too excited there. But Nico Collins, I have in for a big, big week at wide receiver 5 this week. Wide receiver 6, and most of you are going to give up. This is the number 1 pick. This is the Triple Crown winner. This is Jamar Chase. You saw him get pissed off on the sideline last week, and he was toasting Patrick Surtain. You cannot guard Jamar Chase. So we're going to talk about both of them. I have T. Higgins down there at 31, and I know you're playing the Lions here, right? But what you have to look at, and what most people won't know heading into this game is, Jake Browning's look terrible. I just said that at the beginning. The Bengals offense is absolutely terrible. Their offensive line is terrible. Hutchinson's going to get after him. Probably get 3+ sacks for one guy in this game, or probably create 3 sacks for the players on the team because he's that good. But you have to know that DJ Reed, the superstar free agent from the Jets cornerback, they signed probably out 6 to 10 weeks according to the update. And you also have Terry and Arnold, their first round pick corner, may not be in this game. They're going to be running 3rd and 4th string corners versus Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, they got to have time to get the ball out with this offensive line to get the ball to them. That's the problem. I'm still riding Jamar Chase in my elite tier at number 6 and T. Higgins at number 31. I'm not giving up on him yet. You shouldn't either. Jamar Chase is too damn good. We just got to hope that they get a quarterback change here soon. Number 7, Justin Jefferson. And we're also going to go down here and grab, where is Jordan Addison? I got him at 27. So they're going up against the Cleveland Browns. You've got Carson Wentz heading into his next game. He's named the starter, not J.J. McCarthy yet. You're going up against the Browns defense, right? What is the Browns defense strength? It is stopping the run. This is their only weakness is versus the pass. They're very good versus the tight end as well, too. So when you look at the Browns defense, man, what did I tell you about David Montgomery last week? I said you must sit David Montgomery. It's a huge fantasy mistake that people make, is having a 20-plus point game and then starting their running back. I'm not starting Jordan Mason against the Cleveland Browns' number 1 defense that allows 2.0 yards per carry on the season versus superstar running backs. That, like Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry, they stuffed. Come on, this is going to be a game where Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison have to be involved here because they're not going to be able to run the ball. So Justin Jefferson still at number 7 and Jordan Addison number 27. Moving on down here, he proved me wrong. I apologize. I had him at wide receiver 16, but it was last week. It was like a tempered wide receiver 16. I didn't think he'd be able to cover the CeeDee Lamb role, and he absolutely did. You get the New York Jets this week. We know that Sauce Gardner is not worth the money that he's being paid right now, and the connection with Dak Prescott is growing with CeeDee Lamb out. Again, CeeDee Lamb is down here, right? We don't know if CeeDee Lamb is going to be playing or not. I could see him fighting to be in this game. He has not been ruled out. I haven't seen any updates on that yet. But if he is back in there, I'd probably drop George Pickens right back down to wide receiver 15, 16. Number 10, Mechatron, baby. Emeka Egbuka, the steal of the draft right now in fantasy football. And we're going to throw Chris Godwin down here at 25. And good news, Baker Mayfield's back at practice today, so he'll be out there for the Bucs. But they are traveling into the 12th man at Seattle, and this defense is becoming the young new Legion of Boom. They are very, very nice. They play better at home. And Egbuka is just a nightmare. He's one of the best route runners that came out of this class. He's like a Lad McConkey from last year. But Chris Godwin came back in and saw 10 targets as well. So, I mean, I know that the Seattle pass D is their strength. I'm going to put them at 10 and 25. And it's kind of like, do I think that Seattle's going to be ahead in this game? I don't know. I think it's going to be a very close game across the board. So I think I like the over at the 44.5, I believe it is. And I'm going to put them at wide receiver 10 and 25. Number 11, the week is here. The 20-plus point boom, Teteroa McMillan is going to smash this week, guys. You get the Miami Dolphins. This defense is beat up across the board. Every single thing they're bad at. Like, it's terrible, right? So this has got to be his time. You're going to get Xavier Legette back. Hopefully Jimmy Horn Jr. gets involved. Maybe next week they get Coker back to open up more for Tet because, he got the Christian Gonzalez treatment last week, which is what I said in the video. Watch out with your Tet McMillan start because Christian Gonzalez is a superstar corner, and they locked him down till garbage time. So when you're looking at the game against the Dolphins, they lost Tyreek. Their defense is beat up. This is probably going to be a close game where Tet McMillan is way more involved, and it's going to be a massive game for him. I absolutely love him this week. The nightmare, Quentin Johnson has earned it, man. I said, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. All right, he did, and he fooled me again in week 4. This guy is a top 15 wide receiver the rest of the way. His targets are out of control. He is the number 1 wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. Absolute league winner at value if you drafted him. Justin Herbert loves this guy. But we've got to talk about them all because these are 3 wide receivers that are all flex. Well, I would say, Quentin Johnson, high-end wide receiver 2, and Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey still flex plays. And Ladd McConkey, man, yikes. We talked about this all through the offseason in drafts, how Ladd McConkey was one of the highest values that we didn't like between me and Big Draft Energy. And it's coming to fruition. He has not been anything great. He's the gadget guy underneath, not seeing a lot of volume. Keenan Allen, when they signed him, he's their second option. And then Quentin Johnson's the first option. So the values of round 14 and round 10 smashed on the value of round 2 in your draft. So it really, really hurt if you took Ladd McConkey. He's still too good to not put him in the top 36. So I have Keenan Allen at 19 and Ladd McConkey at 26. And it's like Quentin Johnson's the boom guy. Keenan Allen's the red zone possession guy. And McConkey's like your gadget guy across the middle on regular drives, which is not great for him. Heading down to tier 2, wide receiver number 13, Marvin Harrison Jr. The bounce back game happened, the big touchdown. You could see him kneel down, like all the hatred and all the anger of him not producing on one great catch. It was amazing. Hopefully that sparks the fire here with him and Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray looked terrible. And yeah, he saved his game at the end. The offense hasn't looked great. Marvin not getting a lot of volume still. Like 6 targets a game is not what he should have. He should be in the 10s like he had last week, and we're hoping that repeats. And when you're looking at the matchup they have coming here, this should be a smash Marvin Harrison game. The Tennessee Titans are like 6th worst versus the wide receiver. They've been getting crushed because their offense can't move the damn ball and their defense is on the field so long that other teams just eat them up, and the Cardinals are at home here. You got to like Marvin Harrison this week. Even though I'm still not one of those guys that, if you subscribe to the channel or heard my other videos, I'm not one of those 1 week guys and then I got to start him again because he popped. That's always a massive mistake in fantasy football. This is one where he popped, and I love the matchup moving forward here. Number 14, probably the highest on Chris Olave this week. Guys, the New York Giants defense is like the Dallas Cowboys. They get absolutely crushed by the pass. You're going to have Jackson Dart versus Spencer Rattler. No Malik Neighbors. Probably give the Saints more opportunities on offense. And this guy was leading the NFL in targets. And he finally got his first touchdown last week. Chris Olave in the Kellen Moore system playing the slot role. And you saw like the first 3 weeks, it was like 50-50 between him and Juwan Johnson. And then last week you saw like a 60-40 split. Now you've got Taysom Hill coming back. Maybe the tight end variation changes and Chris Olave gets more slot work, which in a Kellen Moore system is just pure gold. Chris Olave is my wide receiver 14, and I absolutely love him this week. Number 15, the scare I was like, if you guys throw him out there, this guy could get popped to the shoulders. Xavier Worthy came back last week, absolutely lit up the Baltimore Ravens. Nice little reverse as well. He's going to get touches on the ground. He's going to get touches through the air. Rashee Rice will be back week 7, so you got 2 more weeks of Xavier Worthy splash play. And just imagine if, look at Tyquan Thornton's numbers, right? Imagine those first 3 weeks. If Xavier Worthy was out there, he'd probably be a top 10 wide receiver right now. The way Patrick Mahomes in this offense looks with him back out there is absolutely electric. You get the Jaguars on Monday Night Football. They're 3-1. They're absolute fraud 3-1 in my opinion. And, they beat my Niners. That's not biased, but I just don't believe in the system they're running there with Shane Gillis. Or not Shane Gillis, he's a comedian. Shane Waldron. Shout out to Shane Gillis. I love his comedy work. Number 16, Deebo Samuel. And it looks like, again, Terry McLaurin. So I got him down here if you haven't seen him in the box. Let me grab his picture here. Right there in the box. He looks like he's going to need another week. So Deebo Samuel, they get JD5 back. You're playing the Chargers. This is a defense that is a very good pass rush that gets after you quick. What does Cliff Kingsbury love to do? He loves to run the screen game. Deebo Samuel got his touchdown in garbage time last week. And without Terry McLaurin out there, which I was never in on Terry McLaurin either way on the season, if you guys saw the earlier videos, but Deebo is going to be their wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season. Number 17, and this one's scary, but this is my theory on this. So the Houston Texans, they're very good at stopping the tight end, right? And I know you have Cooper Rush, okay? And it's not Lamar Jackson. You're not going to have time for Zay to, Lamar to run out with his legs and create an electric play and get Zay on a deep bomb. They're going to have to use a Todd Monken offensive coordinator system here where they just gadget up little things for Xavier Worthy. This is going to be a short passing game with Cooper Rush. And I firmly believe that 10 plus targets are coming for Zay Flowers in this game. And people are scared of it because Cooper Rush is out there. Cooper Rush, you saw what he did with the Cowboys last year. This guy's not just I'm not going to say he's like a starting quarterback, but he's a decent backup quarterback that can get the job done here. Number 18, I was all in on Josh Downs, and he's not getting the usage that I thought. He had the injury coming in, so maybe they're ramping him up slow here through the first 4 weeks. Maybe we get a little more Josh Downs explosion, especially after Adonai Mitchell just dropped the freaking retarded touchdown last week. So Michael Pittman's matchup here is absolutely pure gold. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're a run-stopping defense. They do not stop the pass. Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic, Indiana Jones, whatever you want to call him, he's looked absolutely great, which I did not see coming in the offseason. I don't think anyone saw this production of level he had coming in the offseason. But, man, what they got going there with Steichen is absolutely beautiful, and Michael Pittman is becoming a wide receiver 2 play every single week. Speaking of a wide receiver 2 volume play, but it's getting very, very ugly, Jacoby Myers. Now, Geno Smith, man, if you guys have watched the Raiders' past 2 games, this guy is just declining at the fastest rapid rate of all time. He's thrown probably 10 to 12 balls that I think should have been picked into double coverage, into triple coverage. He's just blindfolded and throwing it up. I don't know what is going on with the Raiders' offense. I know that Gentry looked good last week, and the Bears should not have won that game at all, but that's the Raider fashion. They like to throw stuff away all the time. So Jacoby Myers still a low-end wide receiver 2 flex play of 10-plus points with touchdown upside, but he's dropping down my rankings pretty quick. If he has another bad week again, man, let's see what Jack Beck has, man. Get my guy out there. Number 21. And, you got to take the L's when you got the W's, and I'll tell you the ones I hit on. I'll tell you the ones I missed on. Travis Hunter, as of right now, is a complete miss. And BTJ is a complete miss. And, I wasn't super high on BTJ. I think I had him wide receiver 9 coming in. But Shane Waldron being a part of this Jaguars passing coordination offense is just killing these guys. And you got to think that Shane Waldron was at Seattle with Jackson Smith and Jigba in his rookie year. Absolutely terrible. He was at Chicago Bears with Romo Dunze for his rookie year. Absolutely terrible. And the same thing's happening again. And, Liam Cohen's got ETN playing out of his mind, which is carrying them right now. They've got to figure out something to do with the pass game here. I do not trust BTJ at all as anything but a flex play. He's my wide receiver 21, and it's dropping and dropping. Boom. Number 22, Stephon Diggs moved into the slot, 100-yard game last week. And guess what is here on Sunday Night Football? You get the revenge game of all revenge games, all the anger of Josh Allen and the locker room nonsense between him and Stephon Diggs and the girl at the bar and all their backstories that they have. Stephon Diggs is going to light up the Buffalo Bills. Love him as a wide receiver 2 flex play this week. And honestly, he's one of my higher ones that I'm definitely not keeping out of my roster, especially since they moved him to the slot. Number 23, Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill, again, he's down here in the pick. He went down for the season. That gruesome leg injury, man. His foot looked like it was backwards and his knee dislocated, and ACL might be career ending for him, but they're saying he's targeting 2026. But now Jalen Waddle gets to step up as the wide receiver 1. And you're going to have Darren Waller with an uptick in snaps as well at tight end. But the Carolina Panthers are very good versus the wide receiver. So, you're going to go up against J.C. Horn. So it's a very, very tough matchup for Waddle in this game. I think it's going to be more of a Darren Waller game in the middle, maybe some gadget plays to Malik Washington. And Devon Achane's going to absolutely feast. He's my RB1 on the week. But, I still love Waddle, love the buy. Obviously, sellers aren't going to be selling him after the Reek injury. But I think it's just a tough matchup for him here. So I'm putting him at wide receiver 23. So I have Jameson Williams 24, Godwin 25, McConkey 26, Addison 27, Wan'Dale Robinson 28. And why do I like Wan'Dale Robinson? Well, Malik Neighbors went down, and it's just painful. I wanted to see Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart so bad. I had them ranked as my number 1 duo in Dynasty. People gave me shit if it's Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I said, no, it's not. I said, Joe Burrow is the scariest pick you can have because that offensive line is terrible. Lo and behold, boom, injured. But Wan'Dale Robinson, this guy was 10th in targets last season. I do think Darius Slayton's going to play a role here too. You get the Saints. This is probably going to be a good game script for both teams. Usually both these teams are playing from behind with high volume passing, which is why I like Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton moving forward. But Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be the focal point slot merchant, man. This guy is just going to eat targets, gobble them up all year long. And I like this matchup versus Saints. I like him as a flex play. He's my wide receiver 28. Now, here we go. This is the spot. Pause, listen, go back to my old videos, go back to my live shows, go back to the streams, go back to anything you want. The Philadelphia Eagles, and there was no other content creator on the freaking planet, so I'm going to take the credit where it's due. I said the Eagles passing game is going to be terrible all year long. I said do not draft A.J. Brown. I said do not draft Devonta Smith. Look as what come to fruition. They have a DVOA as a 4-0 team that is the worst in NFL history. They've won 3 games with under 150 passing yards. The only game they thrived in the passing game was versus the Rams running prevent nickel too high because they were up 20 points. And they gave that game to the Eagles. They should have dominated the Eagles. And I guarantee when they meet up again in the playoffs, that's going to be a different story. And A.J. Brown is now wanting a trade request here. He is not happy in Philadelphia. And I've said it Jalen Hurts. I just don't think he's a good quarterback, but he gets it done on the ground. And I am not starting A.J. Brown versus Patrick Surtain in the Denver Broncos or Devonta Smith. This is going to be a nightmare matchup for the receivers. It's going to have to be a Saquon Barkley Goddard show here. Trust me, you should have listened before the season started. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Number 32, I'm going low this week. I know Cortland Sutton's been great. I know he's been great. But again, we're talking about the Eagles game here. He's going to get the Quinyon Mitchell treatment. He's going to get Cooper DeJean if they line him up on the other side treatment. This is going to be a different game here for Cortland Sutton. And I know that he's like your wide receiver 2, not sexy, safe play. He's nothing but a flex play for me this week. I'm not high on Cortland Sutton. He's very touchdown dependent in this game. And it's probably like a 30%, 25% odds I don't want to take with him. I have him at wide receiver 32 this week. Number 33, for the love of God, get Calvin Ridley involved in this offense. Tennessee Titans, what is going on? And I know he had injuries last week, and they said he played a little limited. He didn't practice yesterday, but like I always say on the shows, always wait till Friday. Don't panic. I don't think you're going to have many flex options between the Thursday night football game either way if that's not going to involve Calvin Ridley in it. Because if you have Adams or Puka, you're starting him, right? That's pretty simple. But Calvin Ridley, the matchup is here. This is what you want. This is Arizona Cardinals. It's time to get this guy 10 targets. It's time for Cam Ward to lock in on his wide receiver 1. And it's time for him to thrive. I'm still saying he's a flex play. I'm not giving up because I like to chase volume, and the volume is going to be there. Number 34 behind him, and he gets an uptick. Cedric Tillman goes down onto IR. Looks like 4 to 6 weeks for him. They'll move Isaiah Bond up. Maybe you see some more Fandom. Maybe you see some more Njoku. God, they need to get it going here. But now you also have Desmond Ridder at quarterback. This is not a Joe Flacco statue in the pocket when they get pressured and he just goes down. It looks terrible. This is a guy that can get out, create some plays. You saw him rush for 1,000+ yards at Oregon. He's got some wheels. Now, again, it's his first start. It's against one of the number 1 worst defenses to go up against in the Minnesota Vikings. So it's going to be a tough matchup. But Jerry Jeudy, volume is king. They're probably playing from behind. He probably sees 8 to 10 targets. He's a nice low-end wide receiver 3 flex play. And last but not least, the last 2, Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman. Now, Keon Coleman could draw Christian Gonzalez, or Christian Gonzalez could be on Khalil Shakir. So either way, it's going to be a tough matchup for me here to play either one of them. They are flex plays that are touchdown dependent. I think it's going to be more of a James Cook, Dalton Kincaid game here, honestly, in my opinion. But if you need to throw them out there, I like them at wide receiver 35 and wide receiver 36 on the week. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. My next episode will be the last rankings. Again, sorry, guys, it was late, man. Vegas was a long trip, but I will get the tight ends next, and then I'll dive into my smash, start, and sleeper plays of the week, and then we're live for the entire weekend. We can chat it up. We'll be drafting. We'll be doing different shows with different people. Start sit show Sunday as well. Before you guys head out, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button. It helps me out a ton, and you got to have that bell on so you don't miss nothing, boys. And if you want to check out the Discord, again, the Guys FF, it is pinned in the comments, and it is also in the description of the video if you want to talk fantasy football 24/7 off stream. And as well, again, shout out to the sponsor, Drafters. Make sure you sign up on drafters.com using promo code SLEAZE. You can draft with me tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern as well, doing a bunch of DFS splash drafts. They're trying to win the weekly matchups and show you guys what I do there. And, man, Big Draft Energy's finished like second and fifth in them as well, so he's absolutely killing them. So that's it for me in this episode, guys. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Sleazebum out.